Hi, everyone. It is so good to see you. Welcome to KREM 2 News at noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and we begin talking about what happened last night. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump wrapping up their highly anticipated debate. Jared Hill is in Philadelphia to break down the big moments of last night's event.
Vice President Kamala Harris, President Biden, and former President Trump stood shoulder to shoulder at the 9/11 memorial in Lower Manhattan this morning. A calm contrast to last night's verbal sparring on the Philadelphia debate stage.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country.
Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country.
Harris leaned into her prosecutor days to lay out her case against former President Donald Trump, while he sought to tie his opponent to her boss, clashing on the economy.
I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation.
I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy.
And abortion.
They've wanted it back in the states, and I did something that nobody thought was possible.
The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
There were also some questionable statements, like a false claim about immigrants in one Ohio town.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats.
And a revelation from Harris.
Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away.
Both campaigns argue they won last night's debate. Harris says she's ready for a second one, while Trump and his campaign have given mixed signals. Voters are thinking about who they want in the Oval Office.
We have things that we need, that we're interested in, that we need to know.
If you're the 4%, 3.5% of undecided voters, you want a second, you want a third debate.
In this race of razor-thin margins, both camps are back in swing states tomorrow. Jared Hill, CBS News, Philadelphia.
All right, the next confirmed debate of this election cycle is the vice presidential debate that's coming up on October 1st. That'll be between Ohio Senator J.D. Vance and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. You'll be able to watch the debate right here on KREM 2. And last night we got to hear from gubernatorial candidates Bob Ferguson and Dave Reichert making their pitch to voters. This is the first time the two have faced off after they advanced past the August primary. Ferguson looking to take over the position from his fellow Democrat Jay Inslee, and Reichert hoping to turn the seat Republican for the first time since the mid-1980s. Right off the top, the topic was public safety, something both candidates have as a top priority in their campaigning. The first question touched on the high number of murders, hate crimes, and vehicle thefts that are happening all across the state. Here's what they had to say.
My plan includes putting into my first budget as governor $100 million to hire additional law enforcement officers all across the state. That's money that can be used by local jurisdictions to add to salaries or use for hiring bonuses.
After so many years in law enforcement, I find it interesting that all of a sudden Mr. Ferguson recognizes that there is a crime problem when he's been the Attorney General for 12 years.
Next, the candidates discussed the homeless crisis. According to Washington State's most recent point-in-time count, more than 31,000 people are experiencing homelessness. Here's how the candidates said they would tackle that situation.
We're not helping the people on the street. And I would pay for this, pay for helping the homeless through the $1 billion that we somehow misplaced during the COVID monies.
And I've insisted in those agreements the money can only be used by the state and by local governments to invest in treatment and first responders, and they can only use those dollars to address the opioid epidemic.
Of course, these are just snippets from the debate. We also heard about their stances on abortion, farm worker protections, the trauma on Native American tribes from forced boarding schools, and how to address the budget and taxes. KREM 2 was certainly proud to partner with King 5, the Seattle Times, and the newspaper El Sol de Yakima to bring you the very latest in last night's debate. If you want to see the full debate, you can go to KREM.com or KREM 2 Plus, or find it on KREM's YouTube page as well. And KREM 2 is committed to bringing you more to every story this election season. We will be hosting a 5th congressional district debate that's coming up on Wednesday, October 30th. Candidates Carmela Conroy and Michael Baumgartner will be here in the KREM 2 studio to answer questions that are important to to people right here in Eastern Washington. The hour-long commercial-free debate will start at 7 o'clock that evening on KREM 2, on KSKN 22, and KREM's digital streaming platforms. All right, 12:05 right now. Let's talk weather, because today we are seeing a dramatic difference as those temperatures continue to cool down. Thomas Patrick is standing by with the latest. Thomas.
Yeah, all the fall lovers absolutely loving this weather, Laura.
I do love it.
A little bit of sunshine just starting to peek out from some of that thin high-level cloud coverage. And I'll tell you what, just looking at the satellite here, any kind of clouds look pretty thin across eastern and especially central Washington. And a little sunshine likely gets us to at least 70 degrees. Now, it's a different story over North Idaho, where the cloud coverage is quite a bit thicker and there is still a little bit of rainfall. The band of rain that's been over Shoshone County through most of the morning, just ever so inching eastward, but still some light rain close to Wallace and Lookout Pass. But by the time you get to Coeur d'Alene, it's been nothing more than a couple sprinkles. Same story here in Spokane. I think we maybe got one sprinkle total this morning. And our rain chances are decreasing, but not quite 0% at the moment, because there are still some scattered showers. This is from the Tri-Cities through about Moses Lake, but there is not much in the clouds here. So if we get rainfall today, it's probably just a sprinkle for the rest of the day. So if you are heading outside, you probably don't need an umbrella. It's just more unlucky than not if you're going to get rainfall at the moment. In fact, temperatures did just get into the 70s because of that sunshine. Certainly thought so, but it is just 65 in Coeur d'Alene, just 58 in St. Mary's, and 57 in Wallace. So that's the difference between where it's raining and we're getting just a little bit of sunshine. But the fall weather continues even into next week, as most of the West Coast is going to enjoy yet another cool down in the long-term forecast. So coming up, I'll show you how much longer any rain could stick around for this week, and how much colder the extended forecast is going to be for the inland Northwest. Those details are in just a few minutes.
Every year on September 11th, the focus of the nation turns to ground zero as New York and New Yorkers remember their darkest day. 23 years ago today, more than 3,000 people died and thousands more than those who lost their lives after terrorists seized 4 U.S. passenger jets, crashing them into the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and in a field in southwest Pennsylvania. Today, families of the victims gathered at the sites to remember those killed. Biden and Harris also visited Shanksville, Pennsylvania, to participate in a wreath-laying ceremony at the Flight 93 Memorial. A similar event is scheduled to remember lives lost at the Pentagon.